no, you do whatever you like. And I thought, yes, I'll do something on writers and books and whatever. And then I discovered that many people here, but also elsewhere in Australia, don't actually know a lot of even famous Australian authors. And so I made the program such that I could kind of spread the word on these brilliant authors that we have in Australia. Because I think what the major papers are wrong in doing is that, generally speaking, the literary pages in the major newspapers, the Sydney Morning Herald and the Australian, lead in with an author from overseas. And only then do they come to Australians, and they get much less space. And both of them do that. The ABC's book program doesn't even have any emphasis on Australian authors, even though they are the Australian television station. Nor does Radio National, not even in the days when they had a special book show. And I don't know, maybe when you are a migrant, you become particularly patriotic, although I should say not about the government, but about other things that you fall in love with. And Australian literature really helped me to get to know this country and this culture. For instance, even as a small example, I'm reading a book at the moment by Malcolm Knox, the Wonder Boys, I think it's called or something. And I had never read any of his books, and I started reading this book. And it gives such a great example of the laconic humor of Australians, this sort of gentle humor, which, you know, coming from Germany. Or I'm also reading, I always read at least 2 books at a time. I'm reading another book by Deb Hunt at the moment, who has traveled around Australia to visit farming families completely out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm learning again so much about the landscape, about farmers' lives, about drought and flooding and whatever. And so I don't know whether perhaps people who've grown up in Australia don't have that sense of, I want to learn something new. So that's an addition to what I love anyway, language, rhythm, and so on. And when I did these lengthy interviews for the radio station initially, a lot of people said, look, we can never listen at that time. Is there any other way to get access to them? And we did do podcasts at the time, and even if we did, I'm an absolute technophobe, so I wouldn't have known how to go about it. And so I decided to put them in a book. And I had the opportunity to pitch the book at the Byron Bay Writers Festival many years ago now, I think it was 2011, at which 2 publishers expressed strong interest in the book. So I did then start transcribing all the interviews, which I can tell you is a hell of a job, because you have to listen to each interview at least 5 times to make sure you've got everything. And then once you've got everything, you've got to edit it, because you don't want the oohs and ahs. You may not have picked up a book title that they mentioned, so you've got to check it on the internet. And so it was a lot of work. But I'm really, really glad I've got it now. And I did want to take the profit of the book for myself, because I felt, well, it's at least half all the author's work. The only work I did was afterwards, and in the beginning doing the research before the interviews. And I should mention that I read every single interview that they had on the internet on a particular author to make sure that I wouldn't ask the same questions. 2 authors I interviewed so early after the launch of their debut novel that I could subsequently hear them say the same thing again and again that they said to me. But with the other authors, that luckily didn't happen, because I interviewed them when they were already further in their career and made sure I asked them different things. In the way that this is done, I've tried to keep it a little bit so you can get a sense of the audio. I'm not sure whether that has worked. You can tell me after when you have read it. By underlying words they gave particular emphasis to in speaking, or by having dash when there was a pause, and I put laughs in square brackets to get to get that feeling a little bit of the auditory experience. And lastly, I want to say, as I said earlier, I did want to keep the profits for myself. I didn't really want to give it to the authors because they get enough money from selling their own books. I thought about Radio 222B, but I thought, well, I'm already volunteering all my time there, so they're already getting something from me. And so I decided it should be an organization that has to do something with literacy and books. And initially I was thinking about Rooms to Read, which you may have heard of, that works on literacy for children in Asia, especially in Nepal and Pakistan, I think, where they establish libraries and so on. But I thought, no, it should really be something in Australia, seeing that the book is all about Australia and Australian authors. And so I chose the Indigenous Literacy Foundation, which does a similar thing in Australia, namely getting books out to very remote Indigenous communities with the aim to enhance literacy, not only of the children, but also from the adults, for the adults. And they're now also beginning a program where the language still exists. We begin to translate some of the books into the local Aboriginal language. So I think they're doing fantastic work. They have one major fundraising day each year in September. Anyway, I thought I'll just use that organization. And so provided that I sell all the books that I bought, because I have to buy them myself first, about $13 of what you pay for the book, which is $25, will go to the Indigenous Literacy Foundation. So that I'm hoping that even if for that reason you buy a copy of the book. And the table is now open, especially for people who are in a hurry. Thank you.
Yes. I'm writing with Silas.